You dream about your first client, but deep down, you're also terrified no one's gonna say yes. I was too. I got that first yes, and then 29 rejections in a row. One of them, a woman looked me straight in the eye and said, "You are way too expensive." I smiled like it was no big deal, but inside, I could feel the tears and embarrassment building up. One of those moments where you're praying the call ends before you lose it, because you are this close to crying in front of a total stranger. This is the Freedom Business Diaries, a new series where I peel back the curtain on what it really takes to build an online coaching business. The stuff no one tells you that I wish someone had told me when I was starting. If you're feeling discouraged, uncertain, or like maybe you're the only one going through it, this is for you. So let's rewind, because those 29 rejections, believe it or not, it gets worse. Here's what happened right before that. I got my first yes. A woman I'd been helping for free reached out and said that she wanted to pay me to keep working together. We agreed on $5,000, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. I have cracked it. In my mind, I was already turning in my notice. And then nothing. Before I could turn that yes into something more, the thing happened that almost killed my business. Weeks went by. I booked discovery calls, followed up, tweaked my scripts, reworked my emails. Still, no's across the board. Here's something I wish I'd known then. One yes doesn't mean the hard part's over. It means the real work of staying in the game has now begun. But back then, it was my first ever online business. I didn't know that. Instead, I thought that first client was a fluke, and every no after that was just more proof that I'd just gotten lucky. If you're an overthinking introvert like me, you'll get this. I started replaying every call in my head. Was my voice too soft? Oh my gosh, that one thing I said, why did I say that? I sounded like an idiot. Then one night, it's 2 a.m. because obviously that's when all breakdowns happen. I was curled up on my round gray couch. My laptop was on my knees. I was rewriting my sales page for the 12th time. And by the way, if that sounds like me being a hard worker trying new strategies, I just want you to know I was crying. I hadn't showered in 2 days, and I just snapped at my now husband over something really stupid. And that's when the thought hit me. No one's ever gonna say yes again. I'm charging too much. Maybe I'm just one of those people who wants it, but doesn't have it in them. And that fear felt so catastrophically scary, I just gave up. Seriously. I told myself I was just taking a little break from posting, but let's call it what it was. Fear. Fear of looking like a failure. Fear that my parents were right, that this was all just a silly pipe dream. Fear of people noticing I still hadn't signed another client. Not that anyone was paying attention. And this is where I, and most new entrepreneurs, got stuck. We tie our self-worth to the outcome. If you've ever made a rejection mean something about you, you know exactly what I was going through. This is what nobody tells you in the beginning. The hardest part isn't marketing or selling, it's staying. It's trusting that there is a breakthrough on the other side of that silence, that the early no's or crickets don't mean it's not working. It just means that it's still in progress, because you're not just building a business. You're building the version of yourself who can handle that business. And in case you needed to hear this, you do not know what you're capable of until you decide to stay and find out. So back to me failing at 2 a.m. I wish I could tell you that I had some brilliant comeback plan, that I got off the couch, cracked the code, and yeah, the clients started rolling in. The truth, I was just tired of tying my worth to whether or not someone said yes. And also like physically tired. Seriously, go to bed, Luisa. What I needed wasn't a new strategy. I needed a win, any win. So I did something you're not supposed to do. I dropped my price from $5,000 to $1,500. Not because I suddenly forgot my value, but because I needed to prove to myself that someone still wanted what I had to offer. And then it happened. 2 clients said yes. And as much as those payments mattered, what mattered way more was the realization that would change the course of my business and life. The only way I could really fail was if I gave up on myself. The only difference between the me now, 11 years later, versus the version of me that could have stayed stuck in that 9-to-5 forever, was I learned rejection does not define you, quitting does. So here's the takeaway. Get the no's, let them sting, but keep going anyway. Because the yeses only happen when you stay in the game long enough to get them. And sometimes the most important yes, the one that changes everything, is the one you give yourself to keep going. Now, I'd love to hear from you. I try to read and respond to every comment on my new videos. Have you had a rejection that rattled you? What did you do after? I'd love to celebrate you and cheer you on. And if you're ready to get out there and start finding those first clients without overcomplicating it, burning out, or waiting until you feel ready, I want to show you the exact approach that I used to land my very first one. It's simple, it feels good, and it works. Even if you don't have a website, a niche, or an audience yet. Click right here to watch that now, and I will walk you through my free taster strategy, the same one that's now helped thousands of new coaches get paying clients fast.